let's touch on Conte, lads. Let's run around the room. Rinks, starting with you, mate. What's your views on Conte? Where do you see Spurs finishing this season? I mean, we said earlier, top four, in and around top four. But do you look at Tottenham and do you see more to come? Or do you look at Spurs and think, this is it, this is the best it's going to get? I mean, how do you sum us up at the moment?
I'd say stick with him. I don't know what Tottenham's board's like in terms of if they're going to back him, or if Levy's ever going to do that. But I'd stick with him. As Spurs fans, what should you expect? Do you know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. Like, should you be thinking you're going to win the league? I don't think so. Should you be thinking you're going to be runners up? I think it's like Champions League, top fours. What Spurs fans, given your team, should be expecting, and like you're thereabouts. You're not 10 points off, are you? So, if you were doing what Liverpool were doing, then I think that's a different thing. You could say is Conte the right guy for you, blah blah blah. But yeah, I think for now you stick with him. You're not far off.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. He's a results man. He's a glass half full initially, and then he'll release the handbrake. He ain't gonna have them running out 100 miles per hour. He ain't gonna do a Jurgen Klopp and have him, rock and roll football. He's very pragmatic. He's Italian, and he's all about foundation and baseline. And he's the man that gets turned on by a draw. He's always said, if you ain't gonna win, don't lose. Whereas Arsenal fans, City fans are enjoying some of the best football of their lives. Liverpool fans, Spurs fans are sucking it up, man. We're sucking it up with Sonny. We're sucking up with Kane, but we take it. As to your point, we take it because right now, if we don't get Champions League football, then Mr. Levy tends to close half the wallet on the basis of where we finish in or at the top four. And that's just where we're at. We haven't got a Todd Bowley. We haven't got Saudi Arabian owners. The man works the business exactly like a normal business. All the ins and outs, the profit, the loss, the baseline. But Tottenham were the fourth highest net spending team in 2022. So he did put his hand in his pocket. VJ, when you look at Spurs and you look at Conte, how do you look at it, man? I mean, on par as to Rinks' comments, lucky to get top four, should get top four.
Yeah, I mean, I know Conte, right? As in, not me personally, but we know Conte from his time at Chelsea. 0 winner, knows how to win. I think he's the right guy for Spurs. I think if they keep doing what they're doing right now, they should get top four. Yeah, I don't see why not. You got the right guy there. You should keep him.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. What was the reason he left Chelsea very quickly? Did he fall out with Roman like everyone does? Or Roman?
I think exactly that. Yeah, I think exactly that. There's probably some sort of falling. You never know these things, do you? We don't even know why Tuchel went. There was some sort of falling out, but I think there's just sort of a time where you sort of think, well, you've done your thing. You've won us a couple of cups. You ain't going to do it again. Move out of the way. We're going to bring someone else in that's more, firing and ready to go. A bit like Klopp, right? We all saying he's running out of steam. He's sort of done it, isn't he? How can you keep repeating that? And I think Chelsea just sort of switched managers around. Even Mourinho's come back twice, hasn't he? He's won it, but he's still moved on twice. So I just think this just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens because the fans are on the board's back. Half the fans split, I can tell you, on Conte's football. A lot of Tottenham fans hate watching this three at the back, counter-attacking football. But at the same time, we haven't had a fully fit first 11 since today in a long time. I'm talking months. We've just always had Kulusevski out or someone's always been out with this Romero, like a key player. We've had key players out. And I think Spurs, when we look at the fixture list, they've got a really nice running, guys. If you're into your fantasy football, stick a couple of Spurs players in there, man. We've got some real, not mid-table, but lower table teams at the moment. So a really good shout to get some Spurs players in there. G, are Spurs going to finish above United or United going to finish above Spurs, man?
I think United will pip Spurs, but I think I agree with the whole Conte situation. You're not going to get better than Conte. The shame is that Spurs fans are happy with a top four or a top six sort of finish. I think if you're genuinely comparing to Liverpool or Man United or even Newcastle, Man City, Arsenal, the thinking is different, right? Regardless of the money's being spent. You bought in Richarlison, you bought in these sort of players, and genuinely you should be expecting more. Today, 68% of possession was sitting with Man City, and you hit them on the sort of 32% possession stat. Reality is, on a cup game, that's fine. You can't play like that, for 38 games a season and expect to win, the 3 points every time and get the lead. So, yeah, I think you're going to get fourth, just possibly you get fifth if Newcastle still hold their form. But overall, I think Spurs should have higher expectations, and that requires a mindset shift. It's not Conte. Conte's a winner. It's the rest of the club that needs to come with it.
Yeah, the thing is, to invest the money, you need to get the money in. So Spurs fans will also argue that it's a project, a commercial project, as well as a football project. The stadium's now fully functional. We've got Beyonce coming in. We've got all these artists coming in, NFL, obviously. So I'm hoping, as a Spurs fan, for the first time, I can look ahead with some optimism from a financial point in terms of spending. We spent well in the summer. We brought in some good players, Perisic was a good signing, experience. We don't buy experienced players. We buy young players. We buy projects. We keep buying players that no one's heard of. Like Danny Rose said, you have to Google half these players.
Spence.
But we finally have a financial machine backing in the stadium I'm talking about. We finally have something that's given us money. Do you know what I mean? So it's just hopefully this money, A, comes in, which it is, and B, gets spent on the team, not in Levy's other ways. If he's got certain other projects going on, great, mate. Building cinemas, building apartments, building leisure parks, building theme parks. If you're going to do that, do it whilst you simultaneously invest on the pitch, because football fans will not just wait there and watch everything get built and go, what's going on with the team? So I think Levy's got to balance his investments, and hopefully there's been a lot of Levy out. There's been a lot of Levy out. I've never seen Levy out this strong in my whole entire Spurs. Well, at least under Levy's tenure, which is 22 years now, nearly. I've never seen Levy out banged out in stadiums. I've never seen it on Twitter so strong, on Instagram, everywhere. Levy out is trending. And I just wonder if that is going to push Tottenham this summer to match the Chelseas, like you said, or the Uniteds, and spend 200 million, not 130 million, and actually give us the couple of centre-backs we're looking for, give us an attacking midfielder, bring in whatever we need for the bench, etc. So we'll see what happens with Tottenham. Sage, before we finish off, man, as a Arsenal fan, do you fear what's going on at Tottenham? Do you think there's something pretty happening there behind the scenes with the stadium, with the summer transfer window? We just brought in obviously two players, Danjuma and Pedro Porro, on the last day. That was painful. It took about a week to sign that bloke. Do you look at Spurs now and think, do you know what? The arrow's pointing up, or do you see Spurs just flirting with top four for the next few years and that's it?
Do you want my unbiased opinion or biased opinion?
Honest opinion.
Honest opinion. I do feel like Conte will bring you guys to win something in the future. I think you should stick with him. Those two signings are going to be crucial for you guys, I reckon, as well. Brings a little bit more depth for you. Because I'm not sure. You know what, Josh? Let me ask you a quick question before we head off. What is Conte's problem with what's that young boy, Spence? What's the deal with Spence?
Good question, lads. It's a good question. He went off to Rennes or whatever they're called in the French league. They're fifth in the French league, so they're not a joke club, They don't have 14th, 15th, And he put in an assist, put in a couple of dribbles, had an amazing first half, right? And he's on loan there right now, as of last week. I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, Conte, you sent him out. You signed it off because he didn't even want to play him. He played him for like 5 minutes. End of games. Like embarrassment. 5 minutes. Yeah. Emerson lacking attacking, defending. Emerson okay. He's a right back, not a right wing back. Doherty is just honestly. Doherty is like not great going forward, not great going back. He's just salt and pepper, man. There's not a lot going on over there. And then we're left with Spence, right? Attacking guy, absolutely ripped a couple of Premier League teams the season before with Nottingham Forest. I think Arsenal he had a good game against, I remember, in the League Cup or whichever it was. So we're all saying, put this guy on. It doesn't matter if we lose the game. We just want to see what he can do as a young player. Like Liverpool have put Elliot on and Man City have put Lewis on. He's our young thing. Do you know what I mean? He's the young shining light bright. Conte didn't do it. And the reason a lot of Tottenham fans say he didn't do it is to say to the board, I don't want these youngsters. I want Perisic's. I want Romero's. I want Pedro Porro's. I don't want these young
Ready-made players.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
Just stick them in the academy. I'll stick them on loan. I'm not here to coach. I'm not Arteta. I am the real deal. I am Mr. Chelsea Premier League, FA Cup, 5 Serie A's, Juve, Inter Milan, straight bang in. Like VJ said, in and out. Thank you very much. I don't want these young players. I'm not an academy coach, and he's not into that. Now, I will give him a little bit of credit for Pape Sarr, who's a midfielder. You guys might not have heard of him, but we
Yeah,
bought
Sar's
him.
good.
Yeah, we bought him along with Spence in that window, and he's turned Pape Sarr into a bit of a baller because what happened is when we all went to the World Cup, the players that were left behind at the Spurs lodge, he was training them. So he improved Hill and he improved Pape Sarr, but for some reason, Spence didn't get a run out. Now, Spence has got attitude problems from the past. He has kicked off and he said a few things about his old manager. I think Neil Warnock at Sheffield or whatever it was. He said a few things. So I don't know if Conte looks at a player and says, you could be shit hot, you could be amazing, but if you've got an ego or you're not going to listen like a student of the game, then I'm done with you. I think he just makes his mind up on players like that. I don't think he even wants to give him a chance. And I wonder if his kind of language style, Spence, and maybe his I'm shit hot, just start me, has not gone down so well in Tottenham behind the scenes. Whereas the Pape Sarrs want to learn and the Brian Hills will run through brick walls for you. I think Spencer's coming in and he's kind of like, he knows he's good. And Dele Alli had that. Dele Alli had that as well. Tanguy and Ndombele had that. And these Jose Mourinho's of this world, Contes of this world, you know what I mean? They're looking for characters. They're looking for leaders, not just talent.